Mr. Commander, we are commissioned to undertake the Shenzhou-14 manned space program, and we are ready to go. Lift off. The return capsule landed successfully. We are commissioned to undertake the Shenzhou-13 manned space mission, and we are ready to go. I have come out of the cabin and I feel very good. Number 2 has come out too. I feel good. And this is number 3. I'm out of the cabin and I feel very good. The return capsule touched down. We will undertake the manned space mission for the Shenzhou-14 mission. And this is Shenzhou-14's mission, and China's space mission has taken a great leap forward. We will take every necessary step to build our space station well, and our home in space will become even more beautiful. Space is vast and mysterious, and our exploration never stops. This is the CGTN news channel. We are broadcasting this special coverage live about the first extravehicular activity of the Shenzhou-14 mission. According to the China Manned Space Agency, at 33 minutes, Chen, Liu Yang, and Cai Xuzhe, the three taikonauts of the Shenzhou-14 mission, worked closely together and completed the first EVA. And Chen and Liu Yang, they have returned to the cabin successfully, and the first EVA was a great success. We have two sets of data, and this is the first time that the taikonauts went out of the cabin from the airlock cabin. And this is also the first time that they went out to operate the small mechanic arm. Taikonauts stayed inside and outside of the cabin, worked closely together. And they also verified the emergency return from outside the cabin. And the collaboration between taikonauts and the small mechanical arm is also verified. All the support equipment and their functions were verified. Cabin hatch opened. On July the 1st, Chen opened the hatch of the airlock cabin. Wow, this is Earth right in front of my eyes, and it's coming to me. This is Shenzhou-14. Come out of the cabin and enjoy this beautiful view. I have come out of the cabin and I feel very good. With the support of Liu Yang and Chen installed equipment on the mechanic arm. And then later, Liu Yang came out of the cabin too. I'm out and I feel very good. So this is the first time that China's taikonauts went out of the module from the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. And Cai Xuzhe and other taikonauts stayed inside the cabin and provided a lot of support. From my screen, you can see that Chen has climbed on the small mechanical arm, and this is the first time that the EVA involved this small mechanical arm. We have installed the extended pump, and the collaboration between those astronauts inside and outside the cabin is very smooth. The collaboration of the team members ensured the successful conduction of the mission, and they have verified the emergency return of taikonauts from outside the cabin. They have adjusted the omnidirectional camera and also added a additional pump outside the cabin. Chen and Liu Yang, they have returned to the Wentian lab module. We salute you for your wonderful performance. Let's record this great moment, number one and number two, and let's wave your hands to the number one omnidirectional camera. This is the first time that Chinese taikonauts went out of the space station from the airlock cabin, and this is the first time we used the small mechanical arm, and this is also my first EVA with number 2. So we have made so many breakthroughs, and we saw the beautiful scenery outside the module, and this is truly very challenging, and I felt that the Chinese space station is getting bigger and stronger. Thank you very much to my colleagues. Thank you to the support of the ground team. Thank you to all the people in China. We are in one heart, and we march ahead. Despite the hardships and challenges, each step forward is a big giant forward of our mission. And there's nothing that you can expect from the space station of China. Thank you, Shu Guang. Thank you to all the science and technology workers for your great support. Also, congratulations to number 1 and number 2 for completing your first EVA. I wish everybody a happy Mid-Autumn Day. At 1:55, they opened the hatch of the air cabin lag, and at 2 o'clock, Cai Xuzhe opened the hatch and welcomed his team members back. And this EVA verified the functionality of different components. It has verified the emergency return of the astronauts. So this is the most sophisticated EVA we have ever completed. We have seen the strong mental and physical qualities of our taikonauts. We will continue upgrading our EVA procedures in the future. And Chen said that it's not easy. And this is the first mission where so many tasks were accomplished with one EVA. So it has been 7 hours since they returned back to the cabin. And let me now get in contact with my colleague at Beijing Aerospace Control Center, and we're going to have a recap of this EVA. Good morning, Chunyan. You have been stationed at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, and truly this is a very challenging moment. And so tell me, what are the taikonauts doing right now? From 6:26 p.m. when the hatch of the cabin airlock cabin is opened, they spend roughly 6 hours out there in the space, and then they successfully accomplish the tasks and return to the cabin. So this is a very successful operation. At around 2 a.m. today, they opened the hatch of the airlock cabin and went back to the airspace station. But they cannot get immediately to rest, and they have to do a lot of work. For example, they have to dry the spacesuits. They also need to communicate with the ground support team and communicate some details. And we are wondering, after so many hours of very intense work outside the space station, and they have to engage in those subsequent work, because starting from yesterday noon and up until present, they could only drink water and they cannot eat anything solid. So the first thing they need to do after returning back to the station is to get something to eat. I had a conversation with them, and they grabbed some snacks such as biscuits and chocolates at around 3 o'clock a.m. today, and they went to bed. And I assume that they are sleeping right now. And take a look at the footage behind me. You can see that we have the interior of the Wentian lab module, and we have one spacesuit here, and this is codified as spacesuit A, and it's not in use. And from far away, you can see the hatch of the airlock cabin. We can see this blue-colored cushion, and from inside you can see spacesuit B, and that was worn by Chen. So this is the 5th EVA of the Chinese space station, and this is also the first EVA after the Chinese space station entered into the construction phase. And yesterday, when I was having a conversation with the chief engineering, he told me that although this is the 5th EVA, but this is also a fresh new mission. Why? Because this is the first time that we exited from the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. We are using the small mechanical arm for the first time as an assistance tool, so we are facing new circumstances and challenges. But the performance of our taikonauts is just perfect. The same applies to all the different systems and components. For example, the collaboration between human beings and the mechanical arm, the team spirit between all the different taikonauts, so they have precise collaboration. And this is a high-level and very accurate collaboration. And this shows that our EVA has become more mature, our technology is improving, we are getting more and more familiar with the EVA, and we can be very confident with the control of each and every step. And just as Liu Yang said, after getting out of the space station, that the space station and the ground team are in one heart. Only in so doing can we ensure the success. So how does the chief engineer view this EVA? And he said that we should not just view this as one success. And this mission will lay the foundation for the EVAs in the next 10 years, because this is not just the first time we are embracing some new technologies. We're using the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. We are verifying the procedure and the performance of the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. We are testing this model. If this model is tested as successful, then in the next 10 years, all the extravehicular activities will be relying on this model. So the significance is very self-evident. So this is a fresh new EVA, and this is also a perfect mission. It has pushed all the future EVAs to a whole new height. So the Wentian lab module is the second module of China's space station. It's also the first lab module of China's space station. And this is the first time our taikonauts went out from the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. And now we're going to play a video clip to give you more about the interior of the Wentian lab module. So now you can see we have the work cabin, the resource cabin, as well as the lab cabin. This is a virtualized footage of the interior of the airlock cabin. And bear in mind, this is just a virtual presentation, and there might be some differences from the reality. The work module is 10 meters long, and this is the new platform for work and life of the taikonauts. Chen and Liu Yang, they went out to the EVA, and astronaut Cai Xuzhe stayed inside the core module to provide support. And now you can see all those cabins, and large and small, and those are the scientific modules and cabins, and they have bioscience cabins, storage cabins, electronic gravity cabins, supporting all types of experiments. Now let's proceed, go forward. We're going to pass a hatch, and this is the hatch connecting the work module and the lab module. And after this hatch, the taikonauts will enter into the airlock cabin. And this is the place where the taikonauts get ready in terms of air and oxygen and energy. So this is a place with a volume of 15 cubic meters. So when the taikonauts come back from outside, this is a place where they get changed with their clothing. And take a look at this hatch, and this is the exit. Chen and Liu Yang, they went out right from here. It has a diameter of 1 meter. So this is 15 centimeters larger than the previous mission. So they can also take some large components outside the space station. So let's follow the steps of our taikonauts and come out of the space station. We're going to continue watching this cartoon. So the hatch actually faces the planet Earth. So the first thing that comes into your eyes is the planet Earth. So that is why Chen said that, wow, the Earth is right in front of me and it's so close. So we completed the following tasks. We added an additional pump. We raised the angle of the omnidirectional camera. We installed the functional cabin outside the module, and we also installed a fixture of the small mechanical arm, and Chen actually climbed on this small mechanical arm. And then the next step is to install the extended pump of the Wentian lab module. So that is on the other side of the space station. To give you a clear view, let's turn this around. Because of the sunlight on the surface, the temperature gap is huge. So in order to ensure that we have a steady temperature inside the cabin, we need to have a thermal controller, which is actually relying on this pump. So this is like adding a backup system to the air conditioning system of the space station. And also we have to work closely together with the ground support team to verify that the functions are achieved. So they installed the cables, installed an additional pump to the other side of the space station. And now let's take a look at real-time footage. And let's get in contact with my colleague Lao Chunyan, who is now at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. And now let's take a look at a recap of the extravehicular activity. Standing beside me is Ms. Gao, the chief engineer of this mission. So this is from the camera B of Wentian module. So this is the camera whose angle we're going to adjust through this EVA. The blue-colored one is Chen Dong, and the yellow-marked taikonaut is Liu Yang, that's spacesuit C. So the putting on the suits, and it's very important that they work closely together. And you can see this is Liu Yang putting on the suits. So they have to put on 2 layers, and they need to put on a special layer of clothing, and that is for insulation of temperature, and they also need to put on the layer to ensure a steady temperature, because they will have to stay outside for a couple of hours. So we are closely monitoring their physical parameters, and one of them is your body temperature. And now you can see the small mechanical arm is moving gently to the hatch. So now they are opening the hatch of the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. And you can see that they have a second protection layer outside the hatch. So this is something we don't have from the previous exit. So Chen Dong didn't rush. He stayed in the window just for a while, and now he's out. He said, "Good morning, I'm out. Thank you very much, and I feel very good." So this is their slogan. I'm out of the space station, and I'm in very good shape. So you can see this hatch is very different, and this hatch is facing directly to the planet Earth, and also the hatch is 15 centimeters larger than the previous hatch in diameter. And this is very important because look at the spacesuits and it's very large, so we have to allow for sufficient space. So this is the angle fixer. So we are moving this to the hatch. So we heard the command that the mechanical arm has moved to the right angle. So throughout this EVA, the mechanical arm has multiple positions to stop. For this EVA, we have designed 8 specific locations for the mechanical arm. So the second step is to install the external operational console. So the angle fixer is for our taikonauts to stand on it, and the external operating platform is simply for some sophisticated movements. So you can see Liu Yang is installing the operational platform. Liu Yang said, ground team, I'm out of the space station. I'm in very good shape, but I have to go back. I'll see you later. So Liu Yang came out briefly to say hello to the ground team, and then she went back. So this is a classic view, and this is the sunrise from space station. So now the taikonaut has climbed on the mechanic arm, and this is also a very good picture, and you can see the mechanical arm, the space station, and our taikonauts outside the space station. So this is our second position. So this is installing this extended pump. So you can see Liu Yang pushed this pump to Shenzhou, and it seems like the pump is flying in the space because there is no gravity. So right now, they need to rely on the mechanical arm to transfer or transport Shenzhou to the far position of the space station.
对，是的，就是在舱外操作里面，刚才撕掉了多层，就是
也是个魔术贴，
对，
方便操作。安装前确认。
Now the command reads as before installation, make sure that the lock is open. So outside the space station, the most challenging part is to control the position of your body. So that is why we have to use the mechanical arm, because we can fix our position and also use the mechanical arm to exert some support to our body so that we can leverage the strength of different limbs.
现在在进行的是哪一步？
现在进行通第二步。
通电。
对。
All right, now the supplying electricity to the pump to run a quick test.
工作舱电缆防护装置。
对。 这个时候呢，刘洋已经开始同步
So you can see Liu Yang has started to install the cable. So you can see this is another feature of this EVA, and they are working in parallel, working simultaneously on different missions. And this has dramatically improved the work efficiency. All right, this is to this point of time. And thank you very much to our colleagues. I will get in contact with you later. So, as I mentioned earlier, we are relying on this small mechanical arm to accomplish different tasks. The small mechanical arm is performing very well, and in the future we can expect it to undertake more functions. The small mechanical arm is like the big one. It can mimic the movement just like a human arm. It's also able to grab objects at any angles. And also it can crawl on the surface of the space station. So we have tested this function in the past. We have 4 angles, or we have 4 angles outside this space station, and both for the big and small mechanical arm. So this one is much smaller, but it's also more flexible. It's also more accurate. In the future, apart from supporting EVAs, it will also bring lighting to some of the components outside the space station. So we will do a lot of in-orbit experiments. We will rely on this small mechanical arm to install more equipment. I think we will have opportunities seeing the combination of the small and big mechanical arm so that they will have a much larger turning angle. All right. Let's get back to my colleague Chen Yan, who is at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. So can you continue with your introduction of the extravehicular activity? So let's continue with our recap. I will hand it over to Ms. Gao, the chief engineer of this EVA mission. So the small mechanical arm has moved to the belly of the space station. So Chenzhou has installed this extended pump. Chenzhou is now ready to climb off the mechanical arm. So before climbing on and off the mechanical arm will be fixed to an additional point of the space station. So this is the difference between the big and small mechanical arm. It has to be tied to this space station with another protection layer. This is because the smaller mechanical arm has a weaker and smaller loading capacity, and it's also more fragile. To ensure safety, we have to attach a second layer of protection. But this is just in comparative terms against the big mechanical arm, but it has a loading capacity of 3 tons in a space. Yes, the small one gives you more accuracy. So this is inside the airlock cabin, and you can see that it's very spacious. And it's a cylinder inside. From inside it's a cylinder, and from the outside it's a cube. So we have 9 cubic meters of activity space inside. From this angle, it seems that the hatch is open from the side. So this is Liu Yang climbing on the mechanical arm. So they are working closely together. As you can see just now, Chenzhou fixed the foot of Liu Yang, and Chenzhou has to stand by while Liu Yang is on the mechanical arm. All right, the mechanical arm has transported Liu Yang to this panoramic camera, and Chenzhou is now returning to the cabin. So this is another feature of this EVA, and they take turns to get on the mechanical arm. we have verified this functionality of the mechanical arm, and it takes time to get on and get off the mechanical arm. So we made this very careful arrangement that two taikonauts can get on the mechanical arm. So this is just the role A and role B, and they can take turns, and they can work together with each other, and they can complement each other's job. And in the future, when one taikonaut runs into any technical glitches, and the other one can simply take his part. So you can see that we are using a lot of the angle limiters, and the angle limiter has become much simpler. We just need to open it, and it's very simple to lock the position. So you can see that this time it becomes very easy. We just need to make sure that the screw comes loose, and then we can move it along the mechanical arm. So we are constantly summarizing our experience. We are refining our process, and there's a lot that we can do in this aspect. Because in the space is quite different from on the ground. You may have tried a lot of procedures on the ground, but once you get into the space, you need to do a lot of fine-tuning. So this is one of the key barriers of data collection, because there is the difference between in the space and on the ground. We may have tested some of the functionalities on the ground, but in a space there's always the deviation. So that is why we value the experience of extravehicular activities. So this is a fresh new EVA this time, but they are actually standing on the basis of the previous 4 EVAs. Number 2 is ready to get off the mechanic arm. For Liu Yang, I believe this is quite an exhausting mission. And I think the same applies to Chen, and it's the same for every taikonaut. You have to consume a lot of strength on the robotic arm. And once you get inside the cabin, you have to check if there is any scratches on the surface of the spacesuit, or if there is any foreign objects on your clothing. All right, the taking off the cable, you can see they are tied with multiple cables, and they have 2 cables on a spacesuit, one longer one and one shorter one. And we also have a cable that is extendable. And you can see that we have a lot of handles on the robotic arm. If there is any difficulty or any glitches, our takonauts can climb inside the cabin using those handles. And you can see another sunrise from the footage. So the robotic arm will move to the position to remove the angle limiter. All right, now the task of the robotic arm has been accomplished. The last thing they need to do is to take back the robotic arm, to fold it and to put it in a fixed position. And you can see that at the back of the spacesuit we have the names of those takonauts, and this has become a tradition. And this is like a generally accepted practice amongst the takonauts of China, and because they have a designed lifespan of 15 missions or 3 years, and whichever comes first. And they know that when the spacesuits becomes expired, they will not be able to put on that.
包括刚才的这个上下臂。
So when they climbed on and off the robotic arm, and they have spent 20 to 30 minutes outside, and this is equivalent to running 30 minutes, and it's continuous, and you cannot take any break.
这个攀爬过程当中最难的
So
是
what
什
is
么？
the most difficult part for this
控制自己的身体
crawling?
姿态。
I think the most difficult is to control your body position. You always have to control your body position to ensure that you can accomplish any missions. And also, you have to stabilize yourself to this robotic arm. Each time you have to
你看这两个
make sure that the hook is in position, is in a lock
一根是带着
position,
这个斑马纹的，
and you can
一
see
根
that
是
they
没有的。
using two different hooks, one with the patterns and the other one without the straps. So this is simply for identification purposes and from a economic
带斑马纹的是里边加了
point
弹
of
簧，
view,
所以
we
它
have
可以伸
to
缩的余量比较大。
put this design in place.
另外一根就是里边是不带弹
You
簧
can
的。
see that one is having a sprung in it, and the other
这个
one
过程
has no
昨
sprung.
天比较长，
So
我印象中是
yesterday
从
I
11点半
remember
左右一直到
this particular
12
part
点
took a lot
20
of
才结
time.
束。
是的，他们两个因为还有一个相互
Yes,
协调
because they have
这
to
个过程
work
可能其实两个人
in
爬起来会比
precise
时
collaboration.
间更长
It's
一点。
two taikonauts
这个是为
conducting extravehicular
因为
activity,
他
and
们
it's
前
more
做的这个工作到这个时候体力消耗也
challenging,
相当
and
多
they
了
have
这一天我在
made a lot of preparation
看曙
one day
光
before, and
曙光在地上看你。
so this is a special day, and we are watching our taikonauts making a spacewalk in a space,
对，
and they are
这
watching
是
us
又来了一张
from
双人
above
最美太空
there.
合影。
All right,
而
this
且
is
这一次
another
两个人都是戴着这
group
个金色
photo,
的 24K
and you
镜
can
的
see
面罩
that they
这
are
是遮光
wearing
面
this
罩
golden colored
防强光辐射。
goggle, and this can keep off the
以我们的柔性太阳翼，双翼展开以后
keep off
，50
the
公里的柔性太阳翼为背景。
大概有15
ultraviolet.
为你们的精彩表现
恢宏
和协作精神
So
点
we
赞。
salute you for your
让我
wonderful
们以美丽的地
performance.
球为背景，
Uh,
记录下这珍贵的一刻。
let's
动摇动了。
take note of this great moment with the backdrop of the planet Earth. Number one and number two, let's wave to the omnidirectional
他
camera.
们胜利的画面。
So this is a picture of victory, and they have accomplished all the different tasks.
后半夜
And this
航
is
天员
the
很辛苦，但是
This is
因为
early in the
这个
morning of the
幸运
second day, and they are very excited. They have just completed the mission successfully, and this is the first time that they went out from the airlock cabin of the Wentian lab module. And this is the first time me working together with number two, and we felt the beauty of the view outside, and we felt how challenging it has been over the years, and most importantly, we have felt your support and your encouragement and your help from the ground. Thank you very much. Thank you to my colleagues, to members of my team. Thank you to all the people in China. And we are in one heart. We are making great steps forward. Despite the challenges and hardships, but each small step forward is the giant step towards our dream. And the space station of China can always astonish you with progress, one after another.
同时也感谢动三在
Also, we
舱内
have to thank number three, who is staying inside the car module, and we look forward to the fantastic performance of astronaut number three
谢谢曙光，
in the future.
感谢
And
曙
thank you
光
very much
以及
to
广大
Shu Guang.
科技工作者对本次出舱任务
And thank you to all the technical staff for supporting this EVA, and congratulations to number one and number two for completing your EVA. Thank you very much. I wish everybody a happy Mid-Autumn Day.
谢谢。你们也要吃月饼哦。
Thank you, and you have to take some mooncakes too. Alright, I saw the moon right now, and it's right beneath my feet. Beautiful.
好的，栋梁，请进舱。
天地已经向前迈出的一步。
So the space and the ground, they are in one heart. They are making giant steps forward together. And there's always something that you can expect from the Chinese space station. So this is the first such EVA, and it has been very smooth and successful.
然后心情的愉悦，这两名航天员刚才看到了，我们都很有这个共鸣，祝福他们后面的任务顺利成功。
好，我们把时间交还给演播室。
好的，我们看到航天员
Now let's
心理素质良好的
get back to our studio.
协作精神哈，在这次出舱任务当中完成了多项工作的验证。
And we have seen the close collaboration between our team members. So thank you very much to my colleagues Chen and to our chief engineer.
圆满完成了5次出舱，在这个过程中，工具的细节也在不断的进行优化改进。
So the Chinese space mission has conducted 5 spacewalks, and we are becoming more and more mature and confident. For this time, we have refined the small robotic arm. It has become more stable. It has also become more flexible. The change angle has dramatically extended. We have also refined the angle limiter so that it can be better combined to the robotic arm. And you can see that the front part is changed into a round shape, and at the very back it's still rectangular. So this time, so with this design, it's very easy to put this in the lock position. So just like this, and it's very easy to insert, and you can also change the angle after it's in lock position. And we also have a anti-floating belt, and it's a very important tool, and we can simply use this to lock our positions. And this anti-floating belt has been further optimized. And take a look at the hook. This is the hook in the past, and this time we are using a new hook, and you can see that we have a lock here, and you just need to press it from both sides, and then it's open. So you can regard this as a second layer of protection. According to introduction, there are dozens of different tools inside and outside the space station. And after putting on the suits, their activities will become more difficult, but we have verified the functionality of the different tools, and those tools, they are very convenient, even after the taikonauts are in their spacesuits. So this is the first spacewalk of the combination of number 1 and number 2 taikonauts. We had the full recap of this activity. So how are the taikonauts feeling right now, and what are the details of some of the highlights? And let's get in contact with my colleague Lao Chunyan. So we know that the EVA is the crown pearl of the space mission of any country. And yesterday, we had actually 3 taikonauts working closely together. And 1 taikonaut is working, standing by in a car module. I have the chief engineer, so she will tell us the performance of the team yesterday. I believe the team of Shenzhou-14 is well recognized, and it's perfect compared to the previous EVA. For this extravehicular activity, we are very precise, very accurate, and this is the first time we are exiting the space station from the airlock cabin. And we verified the combination and coordination between the cabin and the spacesuits, and between all the different elements. I believe that the coordination is just seamless and perfect, and it's as good as designed. So from this activity, I believe you can see nothing but perfectionism in all the different details. And I can tell that this is a very sophisticated mission. So how are the taikonauts feeling right now? After returning to the cabin, we had a brief conversation, and the taikonauts, they were still immersed in the excitement of this mission. And they are making preparations for the next extravehicular activity, the next spacewalk. Immediately they started to recover the environment of the interior of the cabin, and they have smiling faces, and I can tell from our camera and monitoring system, I can tell that they are in great shape. So what is the next move? Next up, we have very intense schedules, and we have arranged 2 to 3 spacewalks. And the next spacewalk is right around the corner, and I hope each and every one of you can stay tuned. And they are making preparations for their next spacewalk. Let me tell you, the next one is just around the corner. So we have simplified some of the configurations and preparations. And we are also communicating the details with the taikonauts about their next mission. And before lifting off, and everybody was saying that maybe the Shenzhou-14 crew is the most challenging, because they have to endure a lot of hardships and they will get very exhausted. Thank you very much to my colleague Lao Chunyan. And now let's get to one of the very touching detail of this EVA. And because Wang Yaping and Nie Guangfu, their names were written on the back of the spacesuit of Liu Yang. And why was that? According to the introduction just now, that within a very short period of time, they're going to conduct 2 spacewalks. Will they endure the test? As of now, we have blue, yellow, and red-colored spacesuits, altogether 3 spacesuits. And one of the spacesuits had endured 4 activities in order to balance the frequency of the spacesuits. So the red one has been used for 3 times, and the blue and the yellow one have been used twice. So if we could make some balances, then we can equalize the number of frequencies of the spacesuits. So we have made some maintenance of our spacesuits, and they can meet the demand of frequent use within a very short period of time. So we have to meet the standards of ensuring a gap of at least 3 days, because the average maintenance hour is 4 hours. And that is to say that after they return from outside the space station, they have to dry the spacesuits, and this is simply a dehydrating process, and this is simply to keep off the bacteria. And we just need to verify the status of the spacesuit before using that the next time. The space is vast and mysterious, and we are going to continue with our exploration. And in the coming years, we're going to have 3 major launch missions. And in October, we're going to shoot the Tianzhou 5 cargo mission and Shenzhou-15 mission. And the Shenzhou-14 mission will continue with its construction, featuring mainly the Wentian and Mengtian lab modules. The Shenzhou-14 crew, after staying in orbit for 6 months, they will welcome the Shenzhou-15 mission, and by that time, 3 additional taikonauts will arrive in the space station. And at that point of time, altogether 6 Chinese taikonauts will have a rendezvous
在更高远
in the
深空
orbit in space,
星海灿烂
and
中
they
国人探索的步伐
seeing the planet Earth from afar, and they are also casting their eyes to the vast universe. And the Chinese expedition and exploration of the space will never stop. Alright, this is the end of today's special coverage, and let me end today's program by quoting Liu Yang, and there's always something good that you can expect from the Chinese space station. Thank you.